This is a major pentatonic scale, and it's almost impossible to break. It doesn't matter what you do with it, or how randomly you implement it. It's really hard to make it sound bad, which is one of the reasons you often find it used in children's toys or music apps for noobs. It's also perfect for anyone learning improvisation or learning composition. But what makes it so unbreakable? Strictly speaking, a pentatonic is just a scale consisting of 5 notes, and there are lots of interesting and exotic types of pentatonics. But let's start with the vanilla pentatonic, otherwise known as the major pentatonic. The difference between a normal major scale and a major pentatonic is that the pentatonic is missing these notes, the 4th and the 7th. Together, these notes form a tritone, and in a typical major scale, they're responsible for most of the harmonic tension. The 4th usually wants to resolve down, and the 7th usually wants to resolve up. In any case, these notes want to resolve somewhere, and traditionally, having this harmonic tension has been important. The interplay of tension and release, dissonance and consonance leads to harmonic motion. The problem, of course, is that creating tension in music, similar to human relationships, is quite easy. Resolving tension, though, well, that's more difficult and can make things worse if you're not careful. But if you simply remove the tension notes, bada bing bada boom, off you go to make some marginally tolerable street music. Now, just because pentatonic scales are harmonically forgiving and often used in children's toys, well, this doesn't mean that serious musicians shouldn't use them. This is Debussy's La Mer, which is French for "I'm going to invent my own music system." And in this section, the orchestra uses a pentatonic in D flat. And of course, it sounds beautiful and gentle and wonderful because it's just a major pentatonic and you can't do anything wrong with it. But check out what happens in the horn melody that goes over the top. Here are the notes of a regular D-flat major scale. Here are the notes of the D-flat pentatonic, and here are the notes found in the horn melody. The horn melody extends the pentatonic scale by 2 additional notes, but not the notes you would normally find in the major scale. The 4th is higher, which gives it a Lydian flavor. And the 7th is lower, which gives it a mixolydian flavor. This new scale goes by a couple of different names these days, such as Lydian dominant or Lydian flat 7, but back then it didn't really exist. Debussy essentially created this scale by just expanding on that pentatonic backdrop. Or how about this from Stravinsky's Le Chant du Rossignol? This passage is just an F-sharp pentatonic, but it sounds a little bit off. Similar to Debussy, Stravinsky has expanded the pentatonic slightly. He's added a G down the very bottom in the string part, which totally doesn't fit into the F-sharp penta. And he's also added an A natural very lightly into the background in the horn part, which again is quite dissonant. But adding these 2 additional notes suddenly gives that pentatonic sound a completely different context, and therefore a different harmonic flavor. Now, other than the major pentatonic, there are a lot of exotic, interesting pentatonics to choose from, and although some of these pentatonics contain sharper dissonances than the major pentatonic, it's still difficult to make them sound really wrong. And this is because there are less notes per octave. We're thinning out the amount of possible possible harmonic dissonances. In fact, pentatonic scales often function very closely to chords. The major pentatonic is practically just a 6-9 chord, and this minor pentatonic is really just a minor 7-11. Because of this chord-like function, pentatonics also have a very clear harmonic color, and there's no reason why you can't just invent your own pentatonics to create a customized, unique harmonic flavor. And with less notes per octave, you can give that harmonic space a bit of room to breathe, which makes pentatonic scales prime candidates for playing around with microtonality. So you can see that by giving the pentatonic a different context, reinventing it, reimagining it, you can give this really simple sort of scale some really incredible sorts of harmonic potential. And who knows, if we all start thinking about pentatonics this way, we might start to see some really crazy children's toys appearing on the market.